But I'll take you back to your opening prayer. And a lot of people every night before they go to sleep and several times before they do meetings say the Lord's Prayer or the Our Father. And for many, many years of my life, I always said that prayer, and I always thought of it as a private prayer. I sat down and said the Our Father. But if you listen to it, it's very much what I call a plural prayer. It's about all of us together. Because it doesn't start with my Father. It starts with our Father. It says things like, forgive us our trespasses. Every time it talks in a pronoun, it's plural. And that's because as Catholics, we always want to work on getting everybody in good shape together. Now, I'll talk about some programs which are Catholic Charities, the noun. But Catholic Charities is something everybody does. It's a verb. It's being aware of people that aren't as fortunate as we are. It's being appropriately handling situations you can. Before I get to any of my programs, I don't have to leave your high schools. And I'll give you an example why. In Indianola, which is theoretically an affluent suburb, and that's where I'm from, we have a great school system. But our free and reduced lunch, those who can't afford to pay the full price for the school lunch, and if you've had a school lunch, I don't really think they should charge for it. It's really not worth anything. But for the school lunch, it's going up to about 30% at the moment. Okay, and this will be the same in about every high school that you go to in this area, or much, much, much worse. That means as you sit in your class, the person next to you, something like that, probably doesn't have the same things to eat that you do. We have the program down there, as all the programs in your high schools have, which is called Backpack Buddies, which means some people don't have food for the weekend. We pack food for them that they can take home for the weekend. And these are people you know. And all I say is, all we want you to do is just be cognizant of that not everybody's as fortunate as you are or as I am. So, that's something I just tell people to be aware of. But to handle this, we work in 3 different areas. We have 7 programs with 3 different areas I want to talk to you about tonight. One is run by a lady named Celeste Eggers from your parish. She's one of the house managers for our St. Joseph Emergency Family Shelter. Some of you might have been there. It's over on 11th Street, up by the old Grub YMCA. And what that is, it's the only place in Polk County where a homeless person can stay with their children in the same room. And it's a tough time when you have absolutely nowhere to go. Because we handled about 395 people last year, up to 10 families at a time. 239 of those were children. So, basically what the story is these people for some reason had to come to them. Maybe their parents couldn't pay for their mortgage. They couldn't pay for the apartment. Maybe the wife kicked out the husband and some of the children in reverse. There's just all kinds of things that can happen. The hard part for us to understand, and there are people like this because they still go to school every day, are the people that maybe were living in a tent down by one of the rivers we have, or somebody that was living in their car. And we do have people who live in their cars. And that's, so we can get them for 30 days, and we can help them get their feet on the ground. A lot of people just need a place to stay for 30 days where they can have safety for their children, make sure their children go to school, and schools are great, because the schools have said wherever you went to school, if you're in a homeless situation, you can go to the same school, and they'll send busing to get you. So we can do that for them. When the parents go to see if they can qualify for some of the programs, or if they can find a job, or if they can go talk to their families about their families helping them out, we can watch their children, give them the safety for that. One of the biggest things that we give, and we ask people to collect, because some of these people are really down in life, is bus tokens. They need to take buses to get around in that regard. So we do that. It's really kind of, and there's a lot of things that we need for that, but it's kind of tragic for us because a lot of times there are things I never even thought of. And of the people living in cars, I took an informal survey. I was talking to them as over there. So what do you like the most about St. Joseph? I thought they were going to say the 3 meals, the safety for my children, being able to stay within the same room, a chance to sleep in a clean bed, and all of that. And it was none of those. It was a chance to do laundry. And I never thought of that. There's never been a time in my life that I couldn't do laundry whenever I wanted to. Maybe I didn't, but I could do it. So that's a very basic thing not to have. And most of us wear fresh clothes every day. Some of the guys in this place, we probably wander about but most of the ones here do. Clean clothes every day. And that really makes you feel good. Just think what it's like if you're a student and you go to school and you're wearing the same clothes for 3 or 4 days. Your classmate's a little further away from you. So that's where we ask you to be sensitive. That's where we need help as we do that thing. Since we're always collecting things like laundry detergent, stuff like that. Community, what happens, and this parish does it and others do, and some groups do it and some families do it, is people usually provide and bring in the dinner for the up to 10 families, which is about 30 people once a month. So they cook it, they come in and serve it. That's a good thing that people can do. So we do that. Then we have other people that are just hungry in this town. Polk County has 13 food pantries. And a food pantry is where you go get emergency food. And I'll explain how that works. We have one of the biggest. It's called St. Mary's Family Center. And you can go and get an emergency box of food once a month. And that food will last for about 4 days for a family. It differs on how many in the family that we do. So you go, and if you only can get that once a month, that's pretty tough. A lot of people are on programs already, and I'm sure you don't know a lot about them, but they're called food stamps, government programs. But they do run out. And we have people getting on these programs that have never done it before. The hardest one for me to take was a story I heard of a retired school teacher, taught in one of the schools. Husband had died and everything else. I think she'd been retired for over 10 years, and she just ran out. The money didn't go for enough, and she had asked for help the first time in her life. So that was hard to do, so it's all kinds of people. A lot of people don't have jobs, and that's unfortunate. About 2.5 years ago, we would see for these emergency food boxes and a few other things I'll explain, we'd see about 200 people a day. We've been registering sometimes 430 people a day. So it's really tough, because we give out the emergency food boxes to about 1,800 different families a year. But every day we always have something. We've got some great places here in our area. If you've ever been to Panera's restaurant is one of them. Everybody's been to Ohio. Places like these donate their day-old baked goods, which are still good. They're just not, day fresh. And we have those, and we can give those out to anybody there. A lot of people will donate vegetables to us, which we can give out to anybody that walks in. I think this parish has been involved with Meals from the Heartland, where packaged the rice and beans in packages. All did that a lot of times down for Wells Fargo. I see some head shaking. We do have that. So nobody has to go hungry and hungry. They can always have that. It's not that great, but it's there. But just remember these people, there's no variety in what they eat. There's not a lot of meat. One of the things I don't think they ever see is pizza. So we go with that. And now we have a lot of people donating things because not everybody's an adult. Not everybody's a teenager. We have infants. And with the infants, we need things like formula, which is very expensive. So we have people collect that. And do you have baby brothers or sisters, little infants? It goes in one end and out the other. So we always need diapers, and that's very hard for us to get, especially the little bigger diapers. And I love looking at the guys out there. There's different size diapers. Nobody knows that. The bigger ones, 4, 5, and 6, as they get a little bigger, they're not as cute as the little babies. Everybody gives us stuff for the real little babies. But as they start to grow and get ugly like we turn out to be, those bigger ones are kind of hard for us to get. So always doing it like that. We use volunteers over there in 2 and 3 hour shifts. They're passing things out. My wife and I always enjoy it because the weekend before Thanksgiving and Christmas we're always open, and we can get over there for that one. It's kind of nice to do. We also have the only place that has entirely free clothing for anybody that needs it here in the Des Moines area. If you go to a Goodwill or some of these other places, clothing, but they charge a quarter, a dime, 50 cents, something like that. Ours is entirely free. And it's all clothing that's been donated. So if you ever hear of a clothing drive, what I say to nobody has more extra clothing than teenagers. So take a look at what you just don't wear anymore if you see a clothing drive. And please think of donating it. The biggest thing I donate all the time is t-shirts, because no matter what activity I seem to do, they want me to get a new t-shirt for it. And I just can't wear them anymore on that one. So we've got that. So there's opportunities you can help there. The third program is the most interesting, is in the fact that we resettle refugees. Now this is hard to understand. A refugee is somebody who's legally coming into the United States. And they're fleeing a country where there's no food, there's famine, or there's warfare. Now, in the world today, displaced have to go to another country because of war or famine. I know this is hard to believe. We're about 51 million people, and a lot of those are in Africa. If you read the newspapers or see the news or follow on the internet about any of the struggles that are going on, and you watch, you'll always see pictures of some people carrying maybe a satchel or something, leaving a country. Okay, there could be 100,000 of them going to the country next door. We bring in 80,000 a year to the United States legally. We work with the UN to do it. Here in the Des Moines area, we said if they're bringing in that many, well, we can handle 200. 200 people coming here. And the countries we've been dealing with lately have been Burma. You might know where that is. Everybody knows what the Central African countries and the Southern African countries, Sudan, South Sudan, Somalia. Do a lot of work with that. Do a lot of work now with Iraq and Iran, getting people from those situations. We ask that they have a relative in our area if possible, or somebody from their tribe or from their village, because language is tough. We speak about 5 different languages on the staff, but if you talk, Africa alone has about 170 different languages. If you're just in, I think it's Kenya has 27 different just in there, because they all started as tribes. They all have little parts of their language. It wasn't universal. These are places that don't have the books like we have or the TV like we have, so the language doesn't have to be the same. They're only talking to their family members. And it's fascinating because when these people come, they come with absolutely nothing. We'll meet them at the airport. So we have to always be collecting furniture. If you look at your bulletin, you'll see every once in a while where it says we're looking for kitchen tables and chairs or things like that. We have a warehouse, we collect furniture. When they come, we have to set up an apartment for them because they have nothing. And we do that about 85 times a year. It's really kind of interesting. And that's something people can help us set up the apartments. If you've got a strong back, you can help us carry the furniture in. If not, we just have to set up everything, every cupboard, everything. Because we provide everything from the couch and the bed, to the dish soap, to the toilet paper, to everything that's in there, plus the food in the refrigerator. And these people come from different countries. We have volunteers that go out and buy food. And that's kind of interesting because you don't go to Hy-Vee for somebody coming from Somalia because they don't eat what we eat. And when I work with middle school kids, I ask them this question, and it takes them a long time to answer, but they usually do, because I say, if you want to give a special meal to somebody that's coming, what would you do? And naturally I get the pizza, and I get the cheeseburgers, and those that, you know, have any brains are saying, well, how about a pot roast or a steak, you know, or a great Italian meal and all of that, which is wonderful. But all these people coming in, really, most of them don't eat beef because they just don't have it in their countries. We have a lot of lamb. And this one just gets me because I've never had it. I keep saying I'm going to try it somewhere, but we have a lot of goat. And there's not a lot of goat in Iowa, but they're the specialty food stores that we work on that. So we bring them, we set up the apartment, we have to get them the clothes, we go to the airport, pick them up. A lot of times they come late at night. For some reason the flights are that. Our favorite stories come from those coming from South Africa, which if you've seen pictures of that, is always a desert, always hot. So some of those come to Des Moines in January, February, to the airport, first time they've ever seen snow. And we literally sometimes have to go out there taking shoes and socks because all they wear is sandals or things of that nature. And it's really hard to try and show somebody who doesn't speak English how to put shoes and socks on at 11 o'clock at night out at an airport. So we have to do that. And then we have to teach them about the United States. And it's cultural awareness, because a lot of times in these countries, women don't work. But it can happen when they come here that we find the woman the job first before we find the male. And it's very hard on the male when that happens. You know, they're just not used to that. We have to explain something like a car seat. A baby car seat, we take them anywhere. Try to explain how that works. Well, we're going to put your baby in the back seat. It's going to face the other way. It's going to be strapped in. You come up and sit in the front with us. So that's hard to understand. A lot of these people aren't used to the rules and laws like we have in the United States. For instance, if they wanted to go fishing, they just went fishing. Here you have to have a license. One of the biggest things we teach on our cultural days is policemen are good people. You don't have to run from them. In their country, anytime they saw somebody with a gun, they got shot at. And we have policemen that come and talk to them, just to ask us questions you have. You know, we'll try and figure out how to do it. We have to explain that some of the customs they had, they can't do here. A lot of the African countries like to chew some plants. Well, they're actually kind of narcotics. That's why they like to chew them. I think you can't quite do that one here as it goes. So we have to collect all kinds of things and set everything up for these people. And that takes a lot of people, a lot of volunteers. So those are what we can do. So those are some of the types of things you can do. A lot of what you can do is help us gather stuff, and you can pass these to the people behind you. On the back of this is all our programs. But on the back pages, as you get on there, it shows you all the different items that we have to collect. Well, what I'm interested in with your group and others is, again, we try to get our message out. We need these things. The 1 in 8 people in Iowa lives in poverty. The people need jobs. One of the things that we can't do that we need people with the intelligence that you have is to help us get the message out. So, how many of you have a phone in your pocket? Or close by. I mean, I don't, okay, they're here. I don't know if they make you take them out before class or anything.
No.
And one of the things that
Unless I see them.
I'll have you chat about as we get together. Yeah, thank you very much. If you had yourself, who has one in your pocket?
Here.
Here, just grab one. Give it to this young man, that'd be fine. Are you, is that, you look fairly intelligent, is that a smartphone?
Yes.
Okay, well, you never know. If I wanted to tell people that I need diapers size 4 and 5, and I ask you for your help, how could you send that out on your phone?
I could email most of my family members.
Okay,
text
what
my
else
family
could you?
members.
Text?
I could use Facebook, get the word out.
Okay, who else has got a phone that can suggest another one? Please.
Instagram it.
Pardon, I think you said.
Instagram.
How many would that get you?
A lot.
You're good with numbers, aren't you?
Couple, like maybe 20 or 30.
How many phones can you handle?
Hashtag it.
Okay, you hashtagged it. Is there any other one you could do?
Twitter.
You could Twitter.
Tweet it. Call people.
Okay, you said tweet, right? How many could you get to?
If they keep reposting it, then
Instagram.
Okay, Instagram. So if you guys got together as a group and decided on one thing to get, to have them bring, is this okay?
Yeah, sure.
Probably should have cleared this with her before.
Oh, no.
I kind of mentioned it though.
You bet, no. You're good.
If you decided on one item, be it diapers or anything on that list, and you work together with any of your social media, any of your things, do you think you can get us a lot of stuff?
Most likely.
Would that be more fun than going around? I'll tell you why, because, and I don't think, I've got it here.
Wow.
The option I have been
Here that's
using,
like here.
when I have a lot of
Phones.
youngsters your age, because I can't get you all together, because your lives are pretty busy, and we're getting close to homecoming, and football games, and cross-country meets, and everything else under the world. I'm not even mentioning the community events that you can be in, and all of that. We've usually used one of these things, and these are what they are, door hangers, and they have a list. This one's for our refugee program, and this one has, and this one just says, "Hi, I'm with Catholic Charities at Des Moines." You put your name on there, and it says, "I will come back on a certain date." So today is the 17th, I think. If you were passing these out today, you might have me back Sunday, the 21st, to your house. If you can donate, and this one says, dish soap, all-purpose cleaners, laundry detergent, trash bags, or dish towels, and a few other things, would you have them out and I'll pick them up? Now that's one way to do it, and that's the way I've been doing it. Right? Please.
Sorry, you were talking about diapers. I have 2 kids, and I have a lot of extra diapers, so
Please.
there are 2.
We're to St. Mary's Family Center on Hubble Avenue. I see address. Oh, front of that, let me look. 1815 Hubble. It's right there on the front. Where that is, are you pretty familiar with Des Moines?
No,
You're from where?
Omaha.
What are you doing here? You get lost? Oh, okay. Are you familiar with Des Moines?
I am.
Okay, if I say the cows over on By University Avenue, you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Anderson House. We're 2 blocks south of that on Humboldt. That's how I tell everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you could do that. You could also, as a project, if you and your leader want to do it, is just tell people about poverty so they know. And there are statistics, I guess I put them down, like 1 in 8 people in Iowa are food insecure. You know, I think it's 12.9%, I've got the figures sitting over there, under poverty. You could tell people what the situation is. If you all sat down one night with your phones, usually they say turn your phones off, and have them, and spend 10 minutes, I would think you could notify a lot of people and get the word out about our thing, which is really, really good. But there's other good organizations too. So I think what you have would reach parents and everything quicker than anything we could do. So I offer that for you guys to think about. Because when we deal with high school, it's hard to do projects because of everything else that you're doing.
Yes.
Appreciate that. That was 3 of the programs. I'll mention the others real quickly. We have adoption for people that can't have children of their own, and we work with pregnancy counseling for people that end up getting pregnant and they don't want it, might want to put the child up for adoption. That's one of our bigger programs over time. We've done that. We've got Hispanic outreach. In the Diocese of Des Moines, a great majority of the, it's not a majority, but a high number of Hispanic people we have. We have Hispanic masses all over the place. We have an Hispanic parish here, Our Lady of Americas. We have masses at Christ the King Parish. We have a big community out in West Des Moines at Sacred Heart. We have it in Red Oak, Council Bluffs, Harlan, and 1 or 2 other places. Shenandoah, I think, also has one as we go. So more and more Hispanic all the time. We offer some really neat things. Because what our person does is teach classes, not only citizenship and financial awareness, but beginning computer classes for the people who are coming in Hispanics. If you don't know that, you can't get a job as you work on it. So we do that. Over in Council Bluffs, I'm very proud of this. Somebody else does it in this area, but our diocese goes over Council Bluffs. We have a shelter for domestically abused women and their children. So if their husband is causing them a problem, their boyfriend or whatever it is, a place where they can go and stay for up to 6 months for themselves and their children, and it's safe. It's a locked facility in the sense they can leave any time that nobody can get in that regard. So that's great. We have a counseling program, and that's become, anybody your age, if there's counseling, any type of thing, it's usually through the school system. But it's a very, very tense society that we live in. We have so many people that don't have jobs. We have so many marriages that are falling apart. Different things like that. The counseling is needed. And we offer that both here and in Council Bluffs. What we offer that other places don't, it's counseling. And just like anything else, really good counseling, we take insurance. But because of gifts from parishes and United Way, we also have a sliding scale for people that don't have insurance and can't afford it. We can get them the counseling. So I think that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Did I miss anything on those programs? I think I got them all, didn't I? On that. But, sometimes they talk so fast I can't remember what I said. So it's good. So there's a lot you guys can do. And you really want to be sensitive about it. It's not just prayer that we do as Catholics. It's working with other people. It's our Father who art in heaven. It's a whole community thing as we work together. So we want you to do that. I think I'm a few minutes ahead of your... A few minutes ahead. May I answer any questions about any of the programs? Well, I can tell you other stories if you don't ask. People have come. The most fascinating people we get in which I can't believe, in the refugee program are from a country called Bhutan. Now, Bhutan's over by the Himalayas. I'm sure you've all been there and everything else. You might know where it is. Okay. What happened was about 20 to 30 years ago, one of the dictators decided that he didn't want certain tribes. We call it ethnic cleansing. And it was just going in to kill people. So a lot of people escaped and went over to Nepal, which is the neighboring country. And they just set up camps, were basically tents. Didn't have running water, anything like that. You've seen pictures of these type refugee camps on television. Just these camps. We have some people that have lived their whole lives in it. We got one family that, it was a mother and father and 2 teenage adult boys. One was 17, one was 19. The 2 boys, although they were Bhutanese, had lived for 17 and 19 years in one of these camps in Nepal. So there's all kinds of people that try and come. And they're all like great citizens once they get here. What else may I say?
Wow.
I talked for a long time.
Yeah.
so-
Oh, no, that was extremely informative. Anybody have any questions or thoughts about Catholic Charities, or has anyone been to St. Joseph Shelter?
I did a service project there.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Is that when, in that, do we have to pull the weeds in the alleyway? Was that when, or did you do something else
I
there?
don't know, it was snowing when we went.
Okay.
We cleaned the
Probably
house.
not weed pulling down, I can go down now.
No, we were cleaning inside.
Okay. Now with Des Moines Area Religious Council, that's not Catholic Charities.
Des Moines Area Religious